decided I'd ride Sienna before work today. I have set poles out today, and the last time I rode her over poles, she does tons of poles, but the last time I rode her over poles was when I got bucked off, and the previous time to that is when I got bucked off and had to go to hospital. So I kind of associate pole work with her with dramatics and big dramatics. And I know it wasn't her being naughty. She was obviously, it must have been like some horrible pain that probably felt like a knife going into her, which made her explode and throw me off and whatever. But I can't help poles associating with bad times. Even though, like I say, she does pole work in hand maybe 4 times a week, sometimes 5. Like, she does a lot of pole work. But that fall was back in, I think that fall was back in 2023. I think it's time. So I'm going to be brave. We're going to go and walk, and if I'm really brave, trot over poles. Woo!
So this session ended up being a little bit disappointing. Sienna was tongue rolling really badly. She'd seemed so much better in the previous session, and then in this one, the tongue was, you know, coming out the side of her mouth, and she was just twizzling it around so much. And it's normally a sign of tension. And I have to say, she'd never really truly relaxed or felt like she was overly working with me. She sort of felt like she was in her own little world. And I don't love it when she feels like that, because I kind of can't anticipate what she's thinking. She was perfectly fine and she did nothing wrong in the session, but it just didn't feel overly relaxed. We did some transitions. We did a little bit of back and forth in the rhythm. I've realised watching this back that when she's a bit on edge, I end up over-shortening my reins. And that's just not helping with the kind of trying to get her head and neck out more. So I need to be much more aware of that. And also I just think I need to make the sessions even simpler.
Look how excited Sienna is. Decided to take her on some grass, because long term it'd be nice to ride her on grass. So we thought we'd take Mr. Coop, and yeah, she is so excited. Not only does she love a new ride, but you know what horses are like when their feet touch the green lushness of grass. Makes them a little explosive. Wish me luck. There's 3 fields here. Might take some time to catch her if I lose her.
She was actually very good and thoroughly enjoyed her trip around the field with Mr. Coop.
So we are out for our Saturday morning hack. It's always funny because the traffic can be so hit and miss on a weekend. Like, sometimes it can be busier than a weekday. You definitely get less lorries, but then you get 10 tonnes more cyclists. She's been, so far, touch wood, quite good. She had a sticky moment early on. As you can see, a fluorescent person. She was sticky early on, but then she settled quite nicely, and she went past the sheep first time today. Very good. We are going somewhere slightly different. The man down there is getting all his flowers out, and she's like, oh, I'm not sure about this, so I'm going to put my phone away, but we'll see if we can get her past this. I know, he's got his high vis on. She's like, oh, not sure about that. All good. We got past the flower pots and the high vis people. I hate this hat so much. It just looks awful on. I love my sun shield. It's so elegant. Wait. It's so elegant and just stylish. And this thing is just ugly. We're back from our ride. Overall, I'm really pleased. I was slightly concerned that she was going to be difficult today because she wasn't so great in the school the other day. But generally speaking, she was very good. Had a couple of moments. We had one big moment right at the end where it was so unfortunate. So on our way out on our hack, there was a horse behind us, but she never realised, so it was fine. And I went away that I knew they wouldn't go. They went and did some hill work. And on my way back, we kind of collided at the same time, which was annoying, frustrating. Yeah, it's like, what the chances? Anyway, they were coming back down the hill as I was going past, and she did get quite upset about it. And the lady was like, oh, I'll go and do the hill again. And I think actually it'd probably been better just hacking back together because she has to go past mine. But never mind, these things happen. I did have to get off because Sienna did tip her over the edge, and then when she's like that, you can't trust her because she's not really listening, and she gets very on her toes, and she's more like to threaten something then or actually do something. So I just jumped off, led her for like 30 seconds to a minute, and then actually got back on, gave her a bit of a trot, and she actually did settle by the time we got home. So it wasn't too bad. She's gonna have to get used to She's going to have to get used to seeing other horses. So it's just something that's going to have to, going to have to keep repeating and learning. And because when she goes to a show one day, she's going to have her mind blown, isn't she, when she sees there's lots of horses. Turns out I'm walking as well today. Hit a bit of a herd, didn't we? Somebody's not very happy. I look a bit red-faced, it's because I am. Just walked half the ride. She's quite hard to get back on when she's a bit upset. And also, she's 16.3, and where I'm riding, there's no real verges or anything, or decent verges to like get a step up. So I ended up having to walk the majority of it, and she was quite stressy. Anyway, there's a bridge down there which I climbed onto, and then she spun her bum around, and she was like, "Nah, you're not getting back on." Like, please, just be helpful. All fun. We're back on though. Yay! Hopefully no trouble on our way home. I don't know whether she is coming to see them. I did wonder this morning whether she used the excuse of when she saw the dogs here last time, it really upset her, and so she's a bit like, oh, I don't want to go back down here. I don't know whether it was kind of the upset of the horse yesterday, she's still a bit on edge, whether she's just being a pain in the butt because she fancied it, who knows, but she's definitely not chilled today, not chilled at all, just looking for trouble. She's just, everywhere she's looking, she's like, what can I freak out about? And then, I don't really know what she wants, but she's not overly settled. But never mind, we keep going. Shame, because yesterday I thought she was so good, but, you know, one step forward, two steps back tends to be how it goes, doesn't it, with horses? So, we carry on.
So this was Monday's schooling session. You can see the beautiful blue sky behind it. It was the most gorgeous weather. It was a really disappointing session. I felt slightly heartbroken afterwards because it felt like we were right back at the beginning again with her being quite difficult and not very happy. Started off in walk, as you can see. I had a pole out set up, so I had hoped to do some trot work over the poles, but it didn't happen. She's pretty chilled in walk. She could walk for hours and you wouldn't really see much of a fuss out of her. You know, a little bit of tongue rolling, but it's not particularly bad. She's fine. Like, you know, she's walking around pretty relaxed. It's when you start trotting that you start to see the issues. And she definitely wasn't 100% sound behind. Really poor downward transitions. Like, she's sort of nearly taking these very short steps behind and like nearly padding the ground. As she's going into the downward transition, something isn't adding up there. When I watch her downward transitions, you can just see something's wrong. And I think it's the same thing of her just not wanting to take weight behind. So it does make you still think, is it a question mark for the suspensories? Is it a back thing? Here she got really sticky and she gets really like she yanks at the bit. And she didn't want to go forward, and quite a few times she ended up grinding to a halt, and it took a bit to get her started again. Here you can see where I think she's a bit unlevel, just really not a happy horse in the slightest. Also, her stride goes so much choppier. When she's not relaxed, her stride becomes really choppy, and again, this is a downward transition, and because I think she doesn't want to take weight behind and sit, she pulls onto her front end and sort of nearly yanks at the contact. It was just a very difficult session, and it felt disappointing. I feel sad for her.
Afternoon, guys. A toasty one again out there. I just wanted to finish this video off and just quickly mention about yesterday's clip as well, because obviously I was really disappointed with how Sienna's session went. I felt really devastated, actually. I'm definitely very mopey this morning about it, but thankfully I've got over that now. I've spoken to the vet and we had a good chat, and we kind of made a bit of a plan, but it's quite a final plan. I just want to get her SIs medicated. That's the only time I've ever felt a big improvement from her. So I just want to do it one more time and see if we get the same kind of improvement. We can't do that for a few weeks because obviously she's only recently had steroid in her. We think probably what happened, and I mentioned this in the last video, is that when she had the steroid put in, some of that went into the bloodstream and just made her whole body feel pretty good. And that's why last week the work looked really positive and she was relaxed and happy and comfortable. And then slowly it's been back on the decline again. So the whole thing didn't work, but the vet and I did know that there was a high possibility it wasn't going to work. It's just that little glimmer of hope when she was happy and I was riding her and it was really nice and it was exciting. I got kind of, probably a little bit carried away with it because, yeah, that's why I feel so devastated. I think it's just extinguishing any chance of ever competing again, and I find that quite hard to digest because, I love it. I love it so much and I miss it so much, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, we've got a kind of a good plan now. Like I say, if we medicate the SIs and it doesn't work, then we're just gonna call it for now. Give her a bit of a break, take her shoes off, just let her and Mr. Coop chill out. and I can replenish the funds a little bit and maybe look at this again in a couple of years' time. Yeah, because otherwise it's just exhausting, keep going over the same ground and not getting anywhere. And actually just lunging her now, bless her, she didn't look particularly comfortable. She was particularly bad on the left rein where she was trying to canter really fast, and it's not in a like I'm whizzy way, it's in a just I want to get through this as quickly as possible, and she gets really low to the ground and really deep and heavy, and she churns up my arena really badly. And yeah, so definitely not happy, was going disunited again. And it's crazy, isn't it, to think last week I lunged her and she cantered beautifully on both reins and I was so excited, and then we're just, yeah, back to this again. But hey, poor girl, she's obviously, it's definitely pain related, there's no doubt about it now, but trying to suss out exactly what is causing such pain is rather tricky, and the likelihood is it's more than one thing anyway. So yeah, I will update you next. Well, actually, I don't know really what I'll update you with, because I'm just going to keep riding her quietly for the next couple of weeks, and then, yeah, get the vet out again, spend some more money. It's been a very expensive 2025.